Welcome to the BlackTrack, where I do commentary and review on movies with an all-black cast, or at least a black lead. It's Christmas time, and believe it or not, but the last of the Friday films just happens to be a Christmas movie. What a happy coincidence. I wouldn't consider Next Friday a disaster, but it definitely wasn't what I would have wanted from a Friday sequel. But success isn't measured in public opinion. Success is measured in money. So since Next Friday made a lot of money, the most in the entire franchise, it was almost guaranteed there would be a third movie. At the end of part 2, the bloom was good and off the rose as far as I was concerned, but you might be shocked to learn that Friday After Next, the third and final film in the series, is surprisingly truer to form of the first film than its predecessor, and fixes majority of the issues that I had with Next Friday. To begin with, the pacing is vastly improved, delivering scenes and dialogue at a speed more reminiscent of the original Friday. Also, where Next Friday forgot to give the characters a plot and something to do, Friday After Next makes much more of an effort to make things interesting and improves on old and new characters. Lastly, and this is the most important thing, Friday After Next remembered to be funny. As I said earlier, Friday After Next is a Christmas film, but that's more of a background detail than anything else. The film mostly sticks to its roots as a buddy comedy, with Ice Cube and Mike Epps returning as cousins Craig and Day Day. But by this point, the duo had clearly mastered their on-screen chemistry because they come across as actual family members this time and play off each other way better than the previous movie. Friday After Next was directed by Marcus Rayboy, and he was way more enthusiastic and excited about this film than the previous director. This was Rayboy's first film, and before this, he directed music videos. You know what's an interesting fact that nobody talks about? All three directors of all three Friday movies all directed hip-hop and R&B videos prior to directing their Friday movies, and for all three of them, Friday was their first film. I wonder if that was on purpose. Could a Christmas gimmick and a change of location save what was left of the Friday movies by 2002? Let's BlackTrack and find out. In my mind, I'm not just singing that because I see decorations and I'm in the Christmas spirit. No, the movie literally starts with Silent Night by The Temptations. The Friday movies always had an old school soundtrack, which is something that Ice Cube mandated, and Friday After Next is no different. Only this time, the old school music is old black Christmas songs, which is kinda cool and matches the theme of the film. Damn, Santa is looking a little skinny, ain't it? And drunk too. I'm not gonna judge. I'd be stressed out too if it was damn near 4 a.m. and California was my last stop after delivering presents to the world. Craig and Day Day must have been bad this year because Santa breaks into their apartment and starts taking stuff. Even takes time out of his busy schedule to do a roast.
It's an ugly ass baby. Eyes cocked like a pistol.
If that voice sounds familiar to you, it's because Santa is played by comedian Ricky Smiley, who is somewhat criminally underrated. Like most comedians in this franchise, he ad-libbed pretty much every line, so all the jokes you hear come from him. And trust me, this time around, the comedians are way funnier. If this bad Santa wasn't drinking on the job, then he would know that Santa is supposed to be quiet. That's why they call it Silent Night after all. And you definitely shouldn't make a sandwich. Craig wakes up and tries to shoot the fade with St. Nick, but Santa ain't playing no reindeer games and gives him the business. Now I hate to bring up continuity since this is such a great opener to the movie, but how the hell is a 100-pound Santa beating up Craig when Craig took out Debo? Screw it, just roll with it. Because Santa beating Craig with the tree is worth the unrealism. Ice Cube said he hated shooting this scene because it was a real Christmas tree and it hurt. Also, when Ricky Smiley goes to escape through the window but fails, it's not actually Ricky Smiley, but a stuntman who accidentally fell. It fits so well, they just left it in because it seemed like something Ricky Smiley would do. This movie surprisingly has a lot of physical comedy in it, and I didn't know that Friday After Next needed it until it did such a good job with it. Craig and Day Day now live together in this apartment, but Craig might as well be living by himself because Day Day slept through the entire tussle. He barely even cares when Craig tells him that Santa stole the rent money. Only thing he cares about is that the skeezers can't come through because Craig wants to cancel the party they were having later that night.
One of them said they was gonna tuck my dick from the back. I ain't never had that ever happen to me. I'm trying to see what that be like right there. Look.
This is the first indicator of just how comfortable Mike Epps is, not just in this role, but acting in general. I actually liked him in the last movie, but here, he's that turned up to 100. Of course, it can't be a Friday movie without weed, and the goofy cops care more about the fact that Craig and Day Day have a potted plant of weed in their house than the fact that they got robbed. This looks more like one of those plants that Grandma used to hang from her front porch. They take the weed, of course, and Ice Cube said he included this scene because he always wondered what cops do with the weed they confiscate. Hell, Cube, you ain't need a movie to tell you that. What's Myra doing here? This is actually Miss Pearly, the landlord, and she came at the worst possible time, seeing as the rent was stolen. She's played by the great B.B. Drake, and I've always liked how she was willing to be on the receiving end of some of the most embarrassing jokes. They did all kinds of stuff to her on the Martin Show, and here they gave her a fake mustache. Props to the makeup department, because it looks real authentic, and for the longest time, I thought BB Drake just grew her natural mustache. This scene is less about the rent, and more just to set up the Debo replacement. This time around, Miss Pearly has a son named Damon, played by Terry Crews, and she says if they don't pay their rent, she's going to unleash Damon on them. Notice I didn't say he beat them up. That's because, well, you know, if this was 2002 when this movie came out, I would just say Damon was something else, but I'll just say that he's LGBTQ, but heavy on the G. Great story on how Terry Crews got this role. He did security on Next Friday, and after that, he basically started regularly asking Ice Cube if he could be in his next project, and it paid off. This is only his 4th movie, so it's kind of his breakout role. Now, Day Day already had employment in the last film, but wouldn't you believe it? Craig finally got his ass a job. Only took what? Somewhere around 6 years? Note to self, never steal boxes. It goes on your record forever. Craig and Day Day are security guards at a strip mall that also happens to be the location of their father's new barbecue restaurant. The movie doesn't go into detail about it, but it's insinuated that Elroy spent all the money. No word on why Mr. Jones quit being a dog catcher though. I love that the movie randomly introduces Elroy and Willie's mother, somebody who was never talked about or alluded to, just so they could have her get slapped in their commercial.
Bragg barbecue tastes so good, make you want to slap your mama, don't it, Willie?
Yeah, boy. Hey, mama.
What the hell you want?
Like, this woman only has one line. I don't even think she's credited. I just found that funny. Forget that though. Where the is Sugar, Elroy? I should dock a point from the movie for her not being here. I'll get over it because he replaced her with some chocolate. Sugar's younger sister, Cookie, played by comedian Samore.
You should have kept Sugar's nasty ass. What happened to her?
Oh, I kicked her country ass to the curb. Hooked up with her little sister. That's how we players roll.
Jeez, Elroy. So I guess together, they make a sugar cookie. You know what? I'm sorry. I had to. Don't hate me for that. At least Friday After Next let Willie go back to his roots, bringing back Anna Maria Horsford. It's nice to see that she didn't hate the series and was willing to return. The majority of the movie takes place at this strip mall, and it's a decent setting for hijinks, but I also felt like the apartment building itself would have been a good place too, if they wanted to go that route. Either one works. The filmmakers rented this entire strip mall to use for the movie and redesign all the signs and storefronts to show fake businesses. Now that's dedication. They even went the extra mile for realism and decorated it for Christmas. Only problem was, they also decided to film this movie 2 weeks before Christmas, and as a result, had trouble finding decorations at local stores. Yeah, I know you guys were trying to be authentic and all that, but just because your movie is a Christmas movie doesn't mean that you actually have to film it during Christmas. In every film, there's always one character that goes all in. On the first one, it was Big Worm. In the second one, it was Joker, and to an extent, Panky. And in the third one, it's this guy Moley, played by Maz Jobrani. He's the owner of the strip mall, and also Craig and Day Day's boss. The reason I say he goes all in is because he personally added stuff to his design that wasn't really necessary or even really noticeable, but he felt it would add more to the character anyway. Like how he has a bunch of fake hair on his hands and on the back of his neck. This was all his idea, and shows a creative drive to make the character his own. Now I don't know whose idea it was to put a bunch of real flies in his filthy restaurant, but I know the actors hated acting around that shit. If it's one thing that every Friday movie feels like it has to have, it's a love interest, and Friday After Next is no exception. It's just a shame that they've been unexceptional since the first movie though. Through no fault of their own, they just weren't written to be a big part of the films, but at least Friday After Next makes some strides to rectify that. The love interest in this one is Donna, played by early 2000s it girl Katie Albert. Man, I swear I felt like this girl was everywhere in the early to mid 2000s, and I found myself asking whatever happened to her, only to find out that she's still been steadily acting all these years, and I guess just none of those movies have landed on my radar. All that tells me is that I have a whole bunch of BlackTrack material to get to eventually. Unfortunately for Donna, she gets thoroughly outshined by her boyfriend slash boss, and arguably the man who stole the show, Money Mike, played by Cat Williams in his first film. He's easily the funniest man in this movie, and every time he's on screen, he says something hilarious.
Everything is 25% off. Everything must go. Maybe even you.
I don't even think he's trying. The character is just naturally funny, even when saying mundane but outlandish stuff. Hell, you could argue he's not even playing a character. It's just Cat Williams being himself. He's always dressed like this. No matter where you go, no matter what job you get, there's always going to be that one person who goes above and beyond for that little ass check. That person is Day Day in this movie. Craig has the right idea. All you gotta do is sit in this filthy booth and collect a check, but Day Day is power hungry. You can see seeds of it coming up just based off Mike Epps' facial expressions when Craig is explaining the job to him. And I love that, because Day Day doesn't just come out and say he's going to go crazy. He just slowly starts acting crazy as the movie progresses. I'd hate this behavior if it wasn't so funny. The highlight is him accosting a bunch of church ladies who just want to sing the reason for the season. The best part about this is the fact that they put these women here and didn't tell them what Mike Epps was going to say or how far he was going to take it. So everything he says catches them legitimately off guard and has them kind of hot.
Y'all trying to use the Lord to sell pussy on this corner. I already know.
Wait a minute, you niggas.
Damn, that lady threw the hell out that shoe. Did she play for the Negro Leagues? Of course, this wouldn't be a Friday movie if Day Day and Craig weren't incompetent as hell. They get robbed again by the same Santa while taking a smoke break, and it feels like Ricky Smiley and Cat Williams were competing with each other on who could be funnier.
Oh, shut up! Give me the watch. Give me the watch.
No, not the Rollie.
Nah, it's a stolen. Give me the watch. Looking like a Mississippi pimp. Bitch better have my sweet potato.
The word of the day in Friday After Next is pimping. The movie has no less than 3 pimps, at least 2 characters talking about pimping, and selling hoes is heavily insinuated. I think it's just a product of the time, because documentaries like Pimps Up, Hoes Down were starting to hit the mainstream thanks to the internet, and it made many celebrities out of guys like Bishop Don Magic Juan, who makes an appearance in this movie. It seems to me that the Friday movies were leading the charge on normalizing things that probably should have been long decriminalized. Look at Craig, always distracted. Need to keep your eyes off them gals and on this job. Check out his Christmas riz though.
I didn't know you can make a snowman in 80-degree weather.
Yeah, well, anything's possible. All you need is a can of snow.
Good Lord, who wrote that line? Day Day keeps screaming about being top flight security, but in reality, he's a top flight hater and always tries to block all attempts at Craig getting some action. Craig is like, man, go secure something else while I'm securing this Christmas coochie. At least one good thing comes out of it, because both Craig and Day Day are in the right place at the right time to catch 2 shoplifters trying to rob Money Mike. Hey, this dude played a thief in Martin too. I thought he looked familiar. This earns Craig and Day Day a permanent friendship with Money Mike, and Money Mike gets an invite to their Christmas Eve party, which I completely forgot about that fast.
Let me check my Palm Pilot. Look like I ain't doing shit. I was just gonna get drunk and watch the Grinch, so I'll be there.
See what happens when you treat nice old ladies like common chicken heads? Sometimes those chickens come home to roost. The old ladies that Day Day insulted earlier come back with their sons, who happen to also be gangster. There's a running joke in the movie about what happened to the previous security guards, and we learned that these dudes put them in traction. Wait, doesn't that also mean that these old ladies sent these guys to beat up the previous guards? Maybe Day Day was onto something. This leads to a short chase scene that was supposed to be way longer and was actually filmed, but director Marcus Rayboy felt like it was just too long and unnecessary, so he cut most of it in post. He saved one of the most important parts though, and that's quick shots showing Santa Ricky Smiley going about his business stealing. He wanted to show that even though all this stuff was happening around him, Bad Santa was just doing his thing the whole time. I like that. It makes it seem like there's a whole other story going on that we aren't seeing. Day Day and Craig have had enough already and immediately quit after seeing Molly get mollywopped. Following this scene, the movie goes through kind of an abrupt tonal shift. I mean, they've been mentioning the party throughout the whole movie, but something about it makes it seem off. like it should have been happening in the background of the credits or something. There's some truth to this, since the director says this party doubled as a real party since it took place at the end of filming. So these people were basically having a party for real, and the movie just kind of paraded in a bunch of characters in the meantime. I'm not gonna piss on it because it brought back Clifton Powell as Pinky, and you know that automatically raises the grade of the movie on principle. And he came bearing gifts. It is Christmas after all. Craig about ready to unwrap them already. All these holiday honeys in here, and Damon just wants to snuggle under the mistletoe with Money Mike. He takes an immediate liking to him, and in fairness, if that's what you're into, then a Negro with a relaxer is kinda low hanging fruit. I'm just saying, the problem is, Damon doesn't understand consent. It doesn't matter that Money Mike pees like a toddler, assault is unacceptable. So much stuff goes on while they're in that bathroom too. The timeline is weird. Day hates on Craig yet again while he's alone with Donna, and then they find a way to sneak a Mr. Jones poop joke in before the end. Since Money Mike is being violated in Craig's bathroom, he has to go down to Miss Pearlie's bathroom, who apparently knows him and has a massive crush on him and wants her some of Willie Jones.
I don't even know you, woman.
I heard they call you Sweet Dick Willie.
Me?
Yeah.
How you know that? You heard that, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, baby, I'm a bad mother.
Oh, can I have
Let me
some
go,
of
what?
it?
It's kinda cool how they changed up the formula with John Witherspoon and BB Drake, because normally they play a couple. They were a couple in the first house party and in Boomerang, and they work so well together that it's believable that they could be a real couple. So it's interesting that they decided to change that. Mrs. Jones isn't as impressed with it as I was, I guess. Apparently while all this was going on, Money Mike had been passed out on the bathroom floor. That's why I say it's weird, because it sure was nice of Damon to wait for him to wake up before he tried to spike his eggnog. That delay was probably a bad idea, because it gave Money Mike a chance to get the lock on him with some pliers. Money Mike is kind enough to walk Damon to the car, even though he didn't give him none. But fed up with the way she's been treated by Mike, Donna takes off and leaves him to fend for himself. You know, I don't think you can get out of being the bottom bitch that easily. About right here is where the movie was supposed to basically end. Craig and Day saw the bad Santa running down the street, and originally they would run across the street and grab him, then what feels like the entire cast would take turns beating him up, getting their stuff back. Cube and Rayboy didn't like this, so they changed it to another elaborate chase scene that's kind of reminiscent of the chase in the original house party. I have to admit, the chase scene is actually better, so props to them for changing it. It even features Mike Epps playing a crazy old man in heavy makeup. In the theatrical ending, Santa Smiley gets too cocky about being able to constantly get away, and Pinky's driver runs him down comically while he's dancing. Bruh, look at how many times he rolls on this limo. On the bright side, at least Pinky updated his funeral limo to a prom limo. They string him up in the rightful place for a Santa, and everybody gets a postscript narrated by Craig. But wait a minute. So, I know this is random, but I guess Day wasn't the father of Dewana's baby? Wow, that means that girl really tried to bully this man into being a father for a kid that wasn't his. I need to know what happened with that. In the meantime, let's get to the grade. Friday After Next isn't a massive improvement over Next Friday, but it's a much better step in the right direction. I don't even know what the overall goal was for Next Friday, but Friday After Next at least tried to go back to its comedic roots, and it's a better movie for it. Make no mistake, the story in Friday After Next is almost single-handedly held up by the comedians, and without them, well, you get Next Friday. So I'm glad that Cube and director Marcus Rayboy doubled down on what made the franchise successful in the first place. Listening to the crew talk about it, it feels like everybody just had a ton of fun making it. Nobody had anything bad to say about the experience, which I think is vital to a successful final product. I like that the movie gave the actors a chance to experiment and make the movie their own. The movie helped make stars out of Cat Williams and Terry Crews, and showed how comfortable Mike Epps had gotten with his comedic timing. It also gave Ricky Smiley a chance to shine in a major movie. If the movie was heavily scripted, none of this would have been possible, so kudos to the filmmakers for being hands-off. It's not a classic, and it's nothing really remarkable about the story, but I found myself laughing at it far more than the previous movie, and I think it's worth viewing if you need a funny Christmas movie this season. My grade for Friday After Next is a C-. For right now, this is the final movie in the Friday series, and I can confidently say that it ended on a high note. And that's it for another episode of the BlackTrack. What did you think about the movie Friday After Next? Did you think it was better than Next Friday? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends about my channel. I hope you all have happy holidays. And until next time, I'll holla at you.